Hey. Good morning. Happy Saturday. What are we in? The second Saturday of the month, right? Yeah, second Saturday. And it is a special weekend. It is Mother's Day. And happy Mother's Day to all of the mothers out there. First off, shout out because it can take a village to raise a child. And if you've got more than one and all the different personalities, woof. So I also want to acknowledge that not every Mother's Day is easy. Some of us have lost a mother. Some of us have lost children. Some of us are still trying to conceive. And so I just want you to know you are seen and you can still be celebrated. And there's still a way to celebrate in your own unique way. So don't let no one take that from you. So, welcome back to Her Divine Journey on the platform Where's That Speak, hosted by your girl, me, Brandy, aka B Jules. And we are in a series for the month of May called Pain into Purpose, which is relating back to my book, Addicted to Pain, that is set to drop in September. And I am having a book launch on September 20th. So if you're in the Tampa Bay area, hit me up. I still have room for you to attend. So you already know we need our tea, we need our juice, our coffee, water, whatever it is, whatever your drink of choice is, right? Get it, and we're going to start. We're going to pop this off this morning. So I'll be honest, this is being recorded and it is not going to drop at 9 a.m. It's probably going to drop a little after. Because this past week, God has used me in other ways on other platforms, and I did not have a chance to pre-record. And when I do lives, I'm not able to, or I haven't figured it out, how to make my video the way I want it to look. It's kind of like it saves it and you have to post it just the way it is. So I prefer to get them pre-recorded. So this one's gonna drop a little bit later this morning than what I would have liked would have been 9 a.m. But it's all right. The whole point is that it's still getting done, right? So even if you can't do it the way you expected to do it, just still do it. That's a word from somebody. Still be consistent, still show up. We are not human doings, we are human beings. And last night I got home from ministry with UIJ and I was so tired. And I had in my mind, no, I'm gonna do the podcast so it could be dropped at 9 a.m. And then God had to tug at me like, nah, you need rest. You need a rest. So here we are. We are diving into pain into purpose. And so I began sharing a piece of my childhood story in the last episode that dropped last week. If you have not watched it, I encourage you to please go back and watch it. And that is how pain marked the beginning of my journey. But pain didn't stop there. It started, but it didn't stop. It followed me. And so did the labels people tried to place on me. So the next part that I want to talk about is labels. See, when people don't know the full story, when they don't take the time to ask you what happened, they'll define you by what they think they see. And let's be real. Sometimes those labels feel like a curse, like chains. And it's like a demonic spell over you, because when they are not good labels, subconsciously, they get into your subconscious, and then you actually start living out the labels. And that is what happened to me. I was called a lot of things. I made some pretty bad choices around the age of 15, 16. I had my first scandal at the age of 16 with my teen pregnancy and his father. And then that just led to so many rumors and a lot of labels. A lot of people were talking about me. I had like 3 high schools with my name as on top of the gossip list, right? And we didn't even have social media back then. So it was crazy. And I was called a lot of things. I was called fast, broken, too much, not enough, addicted, tainted, no good, damaged, lost, hopeless. I mean, and the list went on and on and on and on and on. I was also called some derogatory names that I will not speak them on here, but the B word, the C word, the P word, you know, hoe, whore, and a lot more. But none of those labels told the full story. And they didn't know what I had already been through in my childhood to when they met me at that age. Now, this does not excuse certain choices I personally made, but it does define them better, why I made the choices that I made. Because I didn't know what love was. I didn't understand healthy choices. And so for me, I was trying to find anything that would help to numb or make me feel safe. And unfortunately, that led to me getting attracted to the wrong type. And if someone liked me, if someone gave me their attention, I didn't really ask questions. I went with it, right? Because it felt like a fresh breath of air, and it felt good, and I wanted to feel good. And so a lot of those people did not know the pain I had already been carrying since a young child. But what's worse about it all was that I started to believe those labels. I let those words tell me who I was. And when you don't know who you are, you settle for anything that feels like acceptance, even if it costs you everything. And then that's when things for me started to spiral, because I made choices that I'm not proud of, especially around my body, my identity, and what I thought love looked like. And I was introduced to things that numbed the pain but kept me stuck. And eventually, I found myself in the sex industry, trying to survive, trying to make money, trying to feel something, anything. And so I actually found a picture of me, right? So I'll blot out them. But this was me. I was in the streets wearing this, and this showed half of my booty, okay? Obviously, we know what kind of underwear that is. This was in 2007, and it says Guavaween, October 2007. And all of these names had to do with entertainment. These aren't our real names. And I was at the G Spot. That name alone can tell you. And in this picture, I was so confused and broken and numb. And this is what my identity turned into. Because if I was called a hoe, a whore, a slut, broken, all of the names, right? Then why not give it an identity? So I will be that, right? I will be the best at it. And so this picture that I found, and even on the back it says 6969. So the girl in the middle, she was a cop and I was her prisoner, and that was my jail number. Yeah. And this is who I thought I was to be. Her. For many years. Like over a decade. But let me say this. Labels don't define you. God does. And what he says is far greater than anything you've ever been called. So I'm not going to tell you my full story on here because I wrote it out for you in my book, Addicted to Pain. So if you've ever been mislabeled, if you've ever used pain as fuel just to keep going, I promise you, you're not alone. Because I didn't know God at that point. I didn't know who I was. I was going off of what other people had told me, and I was believing the wrong narrative. Because I wasn't just called those names one time. It was repetitive. And it went on for years. I was bullied by other females. I was bullied by men. And then, you start to, once men hear that you're easy or that all of these names, bro, you start getting a lot of attraction. And for me, I kept falling for it over and over again. And I just kept adding my name to the fire. So people had more to talk about me. It wasn't like I kept just, it wasn't like I just did it one time. Nah, I kept falling for the same old traps and tricks over and over and over again. And I didn't have God. I didn't have him to tell me otherwise. I didn't really have anyone speaking life over me or telling me I was not these things, that I did not have to work in this industry. I did not have to use my body. I did not have to live out of my trauma. I did not have to just stay in survival mode. And it wasn't until my mid-30s when Jesus stepped into my life and he radically changed everything. Because again, labels don't define you. God does. And what he says is far greater than anything you've ever been called. And so I had to get to a point, like when he called me a daughter of the King of Kings. Lord, what? How am I a daughter of a king? How? That there's really nothing in my life up until now that shows that I'm a daughter of a king, right? But God has a different perspective. God has a different way of seeing. God has a different kingdom than this world. And I had to write out the labels I was called and then find God's truth, right? And I had to release those and I had to replace them with his truth. And so before I close this out, I want to ask you something. What labels have you tried? No, what labels have tried to stick to you? Who told you what you've never be, like what you would never be? Have you started to believe lies about your worth just to make it through another day? Have you made choices from pain instead of identity? And are you still carrying shame from what you did just to survive? I'll read those again. What labels have tried to stick to you? Who told you what you'd never be? Have you started to believe lies about your worth just to make it through another day? Have you made choices from pain instead of identity? And are you still carrying shame for what you did just to survive? Because as you know, I've been there. But here's the truth. What broke you doesn't get the final word. God does. God gets the final word. Because I am no longer her. I am now a restored. I am more than enough. I am chosen. I am adored. I am loved. I am worthy. I am beautiful. I'm attractive. I'm talented. I'm created. I have seeds of greatness. I am a child of God. And see it here, I was a child of darkness, and now I'm a child of the light. And now I get to use this version of me and reach back out and write a whole memoir of it. And I believe that even if one page speaks to you in this book to where you are now, it was worth writing it, because you're not alone. You are not your past, and you are not what they called you. So I hope this episode has resonated with one mind, one heart, one body, one soul. Because in our next episode, we are going to take the journey just a little bit further to give you more insight about me and relate to you. Because I know that I am not the only one. And that's why God has chosen me to become vulnerable and to bring it and to help someone who is either there right now or has been there. And maybe you have a story. Maybe you are the messenger. And maybe you needed to hear this. And maybe you need to read it, right? And so God didn't just clean me up. He rebuilt me from the inside out. So until then, I want to leave you with this. Who told you that you couldn't be whole? And more importantly, are you ready to believe God instead? So till next time, Lady Gems.